All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So apparently Bo Nickal being humble lasted only 33 minutes, okay, which was about the length of the Ariel Helwani interview that he did following his loss to Reiner de Ritter, and already he's back to being regular old Bo Penny again on his own podcast, where we get to see the mask gradually slip from the beginning until it just fully comes off towards the end of the episode. By the way, an episode that was deleted and only re-uploaded after they cut a certain chunk out of it. Now, thankfully, I clipped all of it before they were able to do that, so we're going to be going over that part as well as other parts of this podcast in this video. We're going to talk about where I think he's making excuses, or just saying things I think are ridiculous, or even admitting to turning down certain matchups. We're also going to talk a little bit about his co-hosts, who seem to be total fucking yes men, okay? Now, during the Helwani interview, I was actually kind of surprised with how well he handled the situation, and while there were maybe a couple of things I could have nitpicked and looked at as excuses, I thought overall the interview was good enough that I didn't need nor want to do that. But this one, not so much. So let's get into the clips.
The camp was good, man. I felt like it just went so fast.
Yeah.
Like the last camp, I think that it felt very, not slow in like a bad way, but like slow in a methodical, planned out way that, and then I feel like this camp, I got to the end of it and I was like, how was that a whole camp?
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. That didn't seem like very much. And maybe like rushed us a little bit, which is weird because it wasn't like it was
shorter.
No, it wasn't like a quick turnaround for my last fight or anything, but I did feel like by the end of the camp, I was like, wow, that was really fast.
All right, now, the only reason I included this clip is to set the stage, okay? We are 10 seconds in to a podcast, and while this is not necessarily an excuse, it seems like Bo is trying to rationalize what happened, why it happened, how it happened, and all the rest of it, and is just throwing out nothing burger reasons to maybe help himself cope with the situation. Now, on its own, I would have never spoken about this, never brought it up, never nothing, okay? Wouldn't have given it a second thought. But coupled with all the things he's going to go on to say, that's the only reason I included it, was because, like I said in the opening, we're going to get to see the mask gradually slip. So it starts off with things like this, and then eventually gets worse, okay? So I just wanted to set the stage. That's it. But also, it did kind of remind me of when Israel Adesanya lost to Sean Strickland. He had all these weird nothing burger rationalization or excuses or whatever the fuck you want to call them that he was kind of throwing out there. I swear to God, Israel Adesanya said after he lost to Sean Strickland, I didn't eat breakfast that morning, botched. Like, just random shit like that. I had noodle arms. Okay? And go on. So it's just weird nothing burger things like that that I don't think are necessarily excuses or an excuse, but it's the fighter trying to cope and rationalize with how everything went down. Either way, let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this quote today while I was scrolling on social media, and it says, if you're grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for all of it, the highs and the lows. You just can't be grateful for the top if you can't be grateful for when you hit the bottom. And I think that you've had people won't say it's a pleasure, but it is a pleasure of like facing a loss before and knowing how to deal with it and understanding that, all right, how to cope with those emotions. And I think that
I saw this quote on social media earlier and I screenshotted it, and it came on a picture of a mountain and a lake with a sunset, and it said that, fucking shut up, dude. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? This guy's name is Ronan. I find that very problematic. I don't like sharing a name with the guy who's reading quotes off social media like a fucking girl. What are we doing here? Okay? And they're sitting there all proper and shit as if they're having a deep conversation about some meme that this guy fucking took a screenshot of. Absolutely, like, disgusting. Okay? Horrible. Let's continue.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been in the midst of it, but the journey has been insane. If you just take a step back,
For sure.
you fought what, 2 amateur fights? Right?
Yeah. So I started my first fight that I ever had was at the end of 2021. I had 2 amateur fights in 2021. Then I made my pro debut in June of 2022. Mm-hmm. So I've been fighting just under 3 years professionally, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, we've had, in just under 3 years, we've had 8 pro fights, a lot of good moments. And, I mean, I can't imagine where we're going to be 3 years from now, right?
Yeah.
3 years from now, I'm going to be 32.
Yeah.
And,
In your prime.
in my prime,
Old.
right? Like I got
Okay, now I included this bit in here because this is just the first time it gets brought up, but this narrative gets brought up any single time Bo Nickal faces any fucking criticism at all. We heard this same narrative after the Paul Craig fight. We're hearing it again after the Reiner de Ridder fight, and clearly it's not just Bo Nickal who brings it up, and it's the people that are surrounding him as well. And I'm just sick of fucking hearing it, okay? And it gets brought up many of times throughout this podcast, but that is Bo Nickal's inexperience, and that being some sort of like valid reason or excuse or rationalization for why things are not progressing the way that some people think they should. Like, yeah, dude, in 3 years you will be 32, but in the first 3 years, you've not been able to develop a jab or any level of striking beyond what you came here with. So what the fuck are those 3 years gonna do if the first 3 you look like you did at the beginning of it, okay? I don't understand this logic. And also, at what point does his lack of professional experience at what point is that no longer valid? Okay, because Khamzat Chimaev, when he fought Gilbert Burns, had like 10 or 11 fights. This built-in excuse never existed for Khamzat Chimaev, ever. We never heard it. So does it, at 10 fights, at 15 fights, at 5 years, at 10 years, at what point can you no longer use this excuse? Okay, either way, let's continue.
Yeah, and 7 fights went pretty
easy.
Ideal.
Yeah. I didn't even get hit really.
Yeah, which
in 7
was
fights.
Insane.
Yeah.
To ride that high. And I think after, you fought Paul Craig last fight, which was a huge step up.
Massive step up.
Yeah, that kind of set you on a different level.
It did, yeah.
And unfortunately with the UFC, you can't really go backwards.
Not unless you lose.
Yeah.
If you're winning, you're going up, right? And that's the way it was.
Yeah, and they wanted to match you up with guys even higher caliber.
I'm not even gonna say it, but the matchups that they brought me at first were
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and now there's a couple things here I want to touch on. The first one being, I do find it absolutely fucking hilarious that Bo Penny is still going with the whole "I've never been hit" bullshit, okay? Considering we saw his face after the Paul Craig fight, and we know that he had a decent shiner. So I'm not sure why he still acts as though he's never been hit. But also, even if that was the case, I don't know that this is a point I would be trying to make if I was Bo Nickal here or his friend, okay? Because to me, what it sounds like is, yeah, I had such an easy first 7 fights that the one only time I faced any sort of adversity, the one fight that I actually got hit in, according to Bo, I wasn't able to fight through it, and I folded, right? I don't think that's a good fucking point in your favor, okay? And lastly, you heard it at the end of that clip there, Bo Nickal admits that he turned down matchups, which I also find is very funny. So the UFC was trying to push him even faster than they did by giving him Reiner de Ridder, and it's just strange to me that the same guy who said DDP's an easy fight, Robert Whittaker he would beat, don't be surprised if I'm a minus 1,000 against Khamzat Chimaev, a guy who said that he would show Khamzat Chimaev levels, that he would beat him easily. And I know that we've got people like Daniel Cormier now trying to pretend that Bo was only talking about wrestling. He wasn't. And if any of you guys have seen the clips, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But from a guy who was so confident that he would absolutely smash everybody to turn down fights against those guys, a chance to prove himself against those guys, to prove what he said correct, is kind of fucking crazy to me. Okay, and it makes me think that he doesn't totally believe the shit he says, even though later in this podcast he'll go on to double down. Let's continue.
Dude, honestly, it sounds dumb to say, but I do think I fought pretty poorly. Like, I didn't fight well. I feel like there was no reason for me to be in the situations that I was in the fight, in the positions that I was in the fight that early. Like, given my skill set and his skill set, I should have been way further out of range, moving, testing things out before getting into his number one positions right away. So I think the whole fight was kind of in his wheelhouse, and you can't do that, right? Like you can't do that with the best guys in the world. I think it exposed a lot of areas that I need work in, and that to me just has to do with experience, like not being in there with guys who, you know, I have 7 fights. Like it's just hard to like simulate that in training, and so I feel like this fight was a massive growing opportunity for me where I just see what not to do, like where, like how to game plan, how to strategize. I didn't have like a good idea of what I wanted to do going into the fight. I don't think I was as clear as I normally am.
Okay, now here we go again with the 7 fight excuse, this time coming from the horse's mouth himself, Bo Penny. Okay, talking about how, you know, he's only got 7 fights, so he didn't really know what to do when certain things happened, and he views this fight now as not what to do. And he also says that these situations he faced in that fight are hard to simulate in training. Okay, now in the immediate aftermath, when Bo Nickal lost to Reiner de Ridder, I asked in the video, I questioned whether or not Bo Nickal gets pushed in training, and I don't think he does. Now, that kind of confirms it for me. The fact that he said that these situations are not easy to simulate in training is insane. Nothing out of the ordinary happened in that fight whatsoever. If you are not facing adversity in the gym, then you don't have good enough sparring partners. Now, whether or not Bo Nickal, and I don't mean that you need to hurt your fucking sparring partner, okay? But listen, if you've never been sat down with a body shot before, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if the first time you're experiencing that is in a fight, then I don't think you're getting pushed enough. And whether it's Bo Nickal not wanting to hurt his ego, so he doesn't want to go with guys that make him feel like shit, or Bo's coaches not letting him go with guys that make him feel like shit, I don't fucking know. But when that happens, you can easily become delusional about your skill set and how good you are when every single day in the gym you just fucking maul everybody.
For whatever reason. But yeah, I do feel like pretty much everything went his way. And some people were saying that like the first round looked pretty good until I jumped the guillotine and got reversed, like that I was doing well. I didn't feel like it at all. Like I was like, the whole fight pretty much, I was like, this is kind of going his way. That's what it felt like to me. And, you know, so maybe if I go back and watch it, like I can see like maybe a couple things I did well.
Yeah.
But overall, like in my mind, I don't really look at like, I look at that as like what not to do. There was really not a lot of like, oh, like that was good. It was mostly like, that was not good.
Got it.
That's how I feel about it, at least.
I mean, I'm obviously biased, but I thought you won the first round, even getting reversed.
Right.
Because I thought that you were winning the striking battle and controlling him. He landed a few body shots early.
Right.
But then when you took him down and you were on top of him for a good, like he reversed you with like, from what my memory,
1:30.
Yeah, like that's what I remember.
He held me till about 20 seconds.
And had no active submission attempts or anything like that. So I thought you won it, but it was definitely close. I wasn't like feeling nervous at that point.
Well, we can go see the judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
So everyone it was 10-9 to Ritter.
Yeah.
First round.
It was close round.
I can see that.
It was like, you know, I thought it like.
What the absolute fuck? Dude, you could just see in real time, Bo Nickal, you could see the wheels turning, and Bo Nickal was almost convinced that he won that first round because his friend doesn't know what the fuck he's looking at. That is absolutely insane. First of all, they had about even control time. Second of all, RDR outlanded him. Third of all, the guy with the cauliflower, I'm talking about Bo Nickal's friend there on the couch, okay, said that there were no submission attempts. There were. I don't know what he was watching, okay? And then you need the social media quote guy to come in and tell you that all 3 judges scored it for Reiner de Ridder, and then for Bo to go, yeah, well, it was a close round, you know. He was almost convinced that he won that round, which is fucking crazy to me. There is no world that he wins that round. None whatsoever. Let's continue.
Again, in my opinion, I look back on how I felt the whole time, and I was like, I was not feeling good. I was like, I lost this round. Maybe not I lost it, like, I was just like, this isn't going well.
Yeah, I mean, a close round, first round is not good either way. So in your mind, you're like, you're going to lean towards.
I didn't think it was close, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was like, I wasn't even thinking about the scorecards. I was like, this is not going well for me.
Got it.
That was my main thought. You know, and I went and watched the one replay that I did see was when I jumped the guillotine.
Yeah.
Bro, I was so close to sweeping him. Like, his toes caught the fence.
Dude, that is so fucking funny, okay? He can't even bring himself now to say that he thinks he lost that round in the moment. He got switched up that fucking badly. Now, to be fair, he is saying, like, I didn't think it went well. I view that round as what not to do, blah, 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 all this shit. I went back to the corner thinking this is not going well, which to me is insane in its own right. Because while he did lose that round, it wasn't horrendous. He didn't get the ever-living shit beaten out of him. So the fact that he was going back to his corner, concerned already, kind of just, to me, shows even more that Bo Nickal does not get pushed in the training room, not even remotely fucking close. And listen, maybe he can go through adversity on the wrestling mat, but fighting is very, very, very different. And adversity in wrestling is very different from getting hit in the face, getting, you know, body shots dug into your guts and shit like that. So the fact that he went back after round one, and because things weren't going as smoothly as all of his other fights, he was already starting to have doubts. That to me is not a good sign.
Feel a little better here, but I'm still like, my energy was kind of dropping. And we got to front headlock, and it was like panic, to be honest, like the why I did it. That wasn't even like my good side. Like, that's my worst side for guillotine.
Got it.
Excuse me. And it was more of just like a panic that it was like a, you know, set it up, feel good. I was like more of it wasn't, you know, looking back, it was a bad decision. And so, and it almost worked out. Yeah. But I do, I mean, overall, like, I look at that again as an example. A lot of the decisions that I made as what not to do. Yeah. Like, all right, well, I know not to do this, not to do this, not to do this. Like, that's pretty much the way I look at it.
It's so valuable too, because like you said, that those situations rarely, if ever, especially the body shots, like, you don't ever feel that in training. And him coming in with, you know, 21 fights, his first fight in 2013, like, that's something that he's learned over the course of over a decade. Yeah.
Okay, now Bo Nickal said that the reason he jumped guillotine was because of panic, which I'm looking back on it, I can't think of what had happened at that point that would have made Bo Nickal panic, but I guess we can just take his word for it. Although the reason they're bringing it up is to harp on the experience point again, okay? And it's driving me fucking crazy. And you even hear his friend say, yeah, Reiner de Ridder had his first fight in 2013, bro. And then the same guy says you can't simulate body shots in training. Huh? Dude, what the fuck did you just say? You're probably way more likely to get hurt by a body shot in training than you would be to get hurt by a headshot if you have good sparring partners, okay? I think that Bo Nickal does not get pushed in training whatsoever. The first time you feel a body shot should not, and most of the time will not, be in an actual fucking fight, okay? Either way, let's continue.
The first time you ever made like a big mistake in this sport, if you think about it, against like Paul
everything
Craig,
else has gone very easy. Yeah, been very, you know, smooth.
Yeah. Well, even if like, so if we look back at like Cody Brundage, like, there was no mistake that was in that fight.
I never felt in danger in that fight.
Yeah, that led to anything.
I haven't felt in danger in a fight at all. Never once was I like, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is not a good situation. You know, this is the first fight that I've really felt like I'm not in trouble. Yeah. Like, this is not good.
So now you feel that again. You're like, okay, let me create space. Let me do this. Let me
make adjustments. Yeah. Figure stuff out. Been here before. Yeah. And you know, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's gone the way it is.
I just threw this bit in here because it's the same point that they made earlier, and I don't think it's a good one. The first time you face any sort of adversity whatsoever, you panic, you don't know what to do, and you get finished, okay? It's just crazy to me that they think this is like a point in his favor, but again, it's all to harp on the lack of experience, which I have zero fucking sympathy for. If you want more experience, go to a lesser organization and get it there. Don't come to the UFC thinking you're the fucking man and you're gonna ragdoll all these guys that would eat you for fucking breakfast, okay?
Yeah. It's just crazy the fact that you became the most popular fighter in the UFC. And literally off a loss, dude, I was shocked by like the actual the amount of people, good or bad, that like the posting that went out. And I was looking like, how is this even possible? Like this
there was a lot.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative.
Wow.
Both ways. But it's just like the sheer amount, like that off of a random fight night in the middle of Iowa, you became the UFC's #1 fighter for about
a day
and a half, 2 days.
Yeah, regardless, people want to watch.
Yeah,
people want to watch, man. Yeah. And all the people that, it's interesting, you know, of course, you know, you mentioned there's a lot of positive and a lot of negative. All the negative, for me, I look at that and all I say is just like, suck my at the end of the day, like, you know, say what you want, but when I get back on top and when I'm the freaking champion of the
They're
world,
all crawling back.
You all come crawling back.
They always do.
They always do. They always do. And I'll spit right in your face. As soon as you crawl back and, you know, Bo, come give me an interview, blah, blah, blah.
Where were you?
Where were you? Where were you? And guess what? I'm going to say, okay, come over here. Loogie right between the eyes. And that's how I'll treat you guys. And every single one of you that says a bad thing, I have the memory of an elephant.
And Ronan keeps receipts.
Ronan keeps receipts.
I screenshotted every single post that you guys made.
Damn, dude. Okay, Bo Nickal wants us to suck his dick. And also, he's going to spit in our face when we come crawling back. That's crazy. Now, this is the part that they cut out of the podcast, okay? And I don't really get it. I've got more of a problem with them cutting this out than I did with Bo telling me to suck his dick. He should just go full heel. I think there's this problem in mixed martial arts where there are certain fighters that would make really good heels, but they just can't do it. They cannot bring themselves to be hated by the fan base. But guys like Aljamain Sterling, guys like Bo Nickal already are naturally disliked by the fans. Just lean the fuck into it. Who cares? If people want to watch you lose, that's almost more valuable than people wanting to watch you win. They are going to pay in hopes to see you fucking lose, okay? But Aljo couldn't do it. He would argue with the fans on why he thinks he should be liked or why he thinks his title reign should be respected and things like that. And Bo Nickal, when he went on Ariel Helwani's show, came off very professional, very humble, very self-aware, and all the rest of it. And I think that that was just him giving the fans what he believed that they wanted. And here, because he's surrounded by friends, right, in his own home, and they're just talking the shit, I think this is how he would actually act behind closed doors, so he should just lean into it. But instead, they went and clipped it, got rid of it, and re-uploaded it so that his actual answer to the question sounds a lot more like what we heard on Ariel Helwani's show, which it just fucking bugs me, dude. Be a heel, don't be a pussy. Come on, Jesus fucking Christ. Let's continue.
About my friend here.
Yeah, actually, I hope you did.
So to all the haters, God bless you.
Yeah, for real. Actually, you know what? It's honestly interesting to me. I think about the people that have that want to say negative stuff and talk about this or that, and I think some of it, right? Like being realistic, you know, some of it I get. I'm like, I've said a lot of things that were really brash and confident, borderline overconfident, and you know, extreme. But I don't really regret anything I've said, and I feel like everything I've said, I'll double down on it, and I feel strongly about that, and so, you know.
And there it is, okay? Bo Nickal was absolutely acting fucking humble on Ariel Helwani's show because he wants to be liked by the fans, and him doing this podcast fucked that up, and I think that's very, very funny, okay? He says that he's doubling down on everything he said where he was borderline overconfident. Yes, you were, good sir. You were completely fucking delusional. If you're gonna double down on all that shit, then don't also act like you don't have enough experience to be criticized the way that people are criticizing you. This is the problem I have with Bo Nickal, okay? He uses the experience excuse, but then also acts like this. You're going to double down on everything you said. You said you'd beat Hamzat Chimaev. You said you would beat Dricus du Plessis. You said you'd beat all these guys. You just got fucking mogged by Reiner de Ritter, and it was easy. Like, you had no success in that fight whatsoever. From start to finish, he fucking beat you everywhere, even where you are best. okay? But then you're going to come on here with your pre-built excuse and act like it's all an experience thing, while at the same time saying you could still beat all these guys that have way more fucking experience than you do.
Well, it's also like, what are you supposed to say? Like, no, I'm not going to beat this person that I'm going to meet 15 fights from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they want from me. You know,
yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like, it's a lose-lose, because they'll either say, oh, you're too confident, you're overrated, or then they'll, if you don't say it, it's like,
oh, you're a big puss.
Yeah, I guess, right? Like, or just like, oh, like,
you're not fun to watch. You're
not fun. You're not entertaining.
Okay, now this is a defense I see of Bo quite a bit. Now, there was something that his friend said there, the fake Ronan, okay, that I want to touch on. But this is not, I think, a legitimate defense, okay? Nobody has a problem with you being confident. Nobody has a problem with you thinking you're going to win the current fight that you're talking about. But the way that he talks about all of these people who have done so much more in the sport than he has, people that he's not matched up against, and according to his friend there, doesn't want to be for 15 fucking fights. Like, what in the world? This guy I'm going to be matched up with in 15 fights? What, you mean when they're old and going to retire? Or what? Like, I don't get it. Is this what Bo Nickal's been talking about this whole fucking time when he says, I'm going to roll DDP, I'm going to fucking steamroll Khamzat Chimaev, is because I'm going to wait till I'm 25 and whatever, and these guys are 40 years old on their way out, or what? Like, I don't fucking get it. That was crazy to me that he said that. But no, people don't have a problem with you being overconfident or even confident. It's the fact that you're going after people who you have no fucking right to be going after. And then even after you get humbled, you still say you're going to double down on this shit.
Like, no other UFC fighter, American UFC fighter, that has had like this big of a following, and then randomly all of a sudden you're fighting some of the top people in the world and being on these, like, you would just have so many moments already online that they're going to look back in the archives, and if you said something awful, it's like what happened, like Joe Rogan said some stuff like 20 years ago and they called him out for it. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, it has zero bearing or relevance in my day-to-day, and
oh my god, this clip made me so fucking mad. This is so cringe. Hey dude, you're just like Joe Rogan, bro, who they tried to cancel him 20 years ago because of something bad that he said. Dude, they're doing the same thing to you. No, what the fuck? Where's this comparison come from? Where the fuck did this comparison come from, dude? Joe Rogan had an N-word compilation made of him, okay? And yeah, they absolutely tried to go after him, but Bo Nickal just gets made fun of because he says delusional shit about his fighting ability. Can you explain to me how these are similar or related even remotely? Okay, dude, Bo Nickal needs to fucking get rid of this fake Ronin bullshit guy, okay? Because this is a problem. This guy filling his head with feminine social media quotes and telling him that he's a fucking victim of cancel culture because he gets made fun of for saying delusional shit about mixed martial arts. What the fuck? Why is that guy so cringe? Oh my god. This is like a new thing, though. We see a lot of people doing this bullshit. Bro, they're just trying to cancel you, bro. Shut the fuck up, okay? You're fine. You're not being canceled. You're just an idiot. That's it. I don't know what else to say about this situation, okay? Like and subscribe. You guys have a good one. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.